Hello.
Morning.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me, Ana Lúcia?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah, okay.
Hello, we hear you. Please
Hi.
turn on your camera. Okay, it's perfect. Thanks. You can start.
Okay, do we already have the participants?
Yes, of course. You can
Yeah.
start your
Let's
speech.
move on then. Thank you.
Okay, I just need then the right to share my screen, please. As we've had agreed, I am not able yet.
You can.
Okay, now I can. Perfect. So, 1 second. And here we go. So, hello everybody who's on this side. Welcome to Infineon's webinar on the topic Upgrade Your Application. My name is Cristiana Sequeira. I am the Student Attraction Manager for Infineon Hungary, and with me I also have Ana Lúcia Martins, who will be joining me throughout this webinar, and you will get the chance to know her soon enough. So today we want to take this opportunity to give you a little bit of insights about this topic of the application process. So we have an agenda ready for you, and what we want to go through in these short 20 minutes will be the first topic, causing a good impression as a job seeker. So try to go over some of the do's and don'ts of CV and cover letter, preparing for an interview, how the selection process goes at Infineon. We would also like to give you a career page tour and talk a little bit about the opportunities we have at Infineon, leave you with some walkaway messages, and hopefully still have time for some questions and answers if you see it suited. So jumping right into our very first topic, causing a good impression as a job seeker. We all know that the CV is a major part of the application process. And here we have the main aspects that you should always include on your CV. So we have the picture, the contact details, education, the work experience, skills, and finally the personal interests. So we will try to very quickly go over each one of these topics with some tips that might be useful. Starting with the photo, of course, this is not mandatory, although if you do want to include a photo, our suggestion is that you try to make it look as professional as possible. So we know we always look very good on our holiday pictures or our party pictures, but the ideal is to try to add a photo that it's very professional. Also, don't include pictures with other people, so focus only on yourself. On the contact details, this is always necessary, and you should here provide the relevant personal and contact information. So always add your email address, your phone number. You can also add your location, and here, if you wish, you can add a short description. Also, be aware of to use, again, serious email addresses or professional email addresses. So think about how you want to pose yourself to the employers, and avoid using the funny email addresses that sometimes we have. So also include a professional one. Jumping to the education topic. So what is important here? First of all, mention that it is only relevant to include information from the secondary education onwards. So everything that happened before secondary education, you don't have to include. If you want to include shorter trainings, so short-term courses that you did, try to make sure that they are related to the job you are applying to. Okay, so don't fill your CV with unuseful information. Focus on what is really accurate to that job. You can also add where you attended these studies, and then you can choose to add the average you had in the courses that you made, and maybe specific courses that can be relevant to the job. So think about the skills that the job requires and show which courses you had that gave you those skills. When it comes to the experience, here, as you know, it's important to highlight the relevant experiences that you had in jobs, but maybe not only jobs. And here, this is also important for fresh graduates. So imagine that you have projects that you've been a part of and you want to include it. This is perfectly okay if this is linked to the job that you are applying to. In case you already have too many experiences, our suggestion would be to focus on the ones that are relevant to the job that you are applying to. And it is also helpful to give a short description, which does not mean describe everything that you did at your previous jobs, but let us know what were your main tasks and responsibilities so that we can have a better picture of your background and experience. On skills, this is also a very relevant part of the CV. So here you should mention your relevant skills and again, make sure that they match the required ones in this specific job. So it is very common that sometimes when we are applying, especially looking for a new opportunity, that we apply to a lot of different jobs, but it's important that we take the time to adapt our CV to that specific position that we want, as this will help the person receiving the CV link your skills to the ones at the job. So make sure that you always do that. Also very relevant, it's to also include language skills. So which languages are you able to speak and at what level? And also the IT skills. So regardless of the position, make sure that you include this information. And a final tip, to be honest about the information you provide, a good recruitment process is a win-win situation for employer and employee. So it is good that you find a job where you will feel comfortable and that you can actually feel safe performing. So make sure to be honest. Finally, the topic of personal interests. This one, we do not consider it absolutely mandatory, but if you do want to include it, it is not related to work. It's a chance for us to get to know you a little bit more as an individual. So what do you like to do on your free time, your hobbies, your interests? Share a little bit more about yourself. And when it comes to the CV, this is what we wanted to make sure, just really highlight the fact that you should always focus on the specific job that you are applying to and trying to adapt it in that way. And I will now pass over to my colleague, Lúcia.
Thank you, Cristiana. We will now like to give you some hints on how you can better prepare for an interview. So we would like to share with you that before the interview takes place, there are a few things that you should pay attention to. First, you should review the job description of the position you will be interviewed for and prepare yourself to be able to clarify why you decided to apply. You will always make a good impression if you do a quick search on the company so you can show the interviewer that you already have some information about it. Also, do not forget to prepare and structure your speech. Decide what you would like to share with the interviewer, how you would like to do it. You can start, for example, by sharing your academic background, then move on to your professional experience, then mention your skills, your hobbies, structure it and prepare it in advance. We also always appreciate as interviewers when the candidates have some curiosities about the company or the job itself. So you can also prepare a few questions, for example, about the team, about the company business, or the position you are applying to as you wish. On the day of the interview, it is important to be punctual. You can even arrive a bit earlier. And also, please note that your posture and how you present yourself will also be considered by the interviewer, the nonverbal part, as we say in this slide. In case you need to think better about any specific answer you want to give, you can always use some key sentences to gain some time. For example, saying, "This is a very good question," while you gain some time to better think about what you will say to the interviewer. And it is also important that your answers are complete and clear, but try not to make it too extensive. Moving on to the next slide then.
Sorry, it was not passing.
We can talk to you a little bit about how our selection process within Infineon works. It all starts with a check regarding the documents you submitted when you first made your application and the verification of the fulfillment of specific requirements for that job. For example, if the CV in English is requested, if you uploaded the reference details in case it is also needed, these are the checks that we will conduct in a first phase. After this, we will start analyzing all the documents you uploaded in detail, and it's time to make the first decision about your application. Either we will contact you for a phone assessment or an interview to get more details, or we understand that you do not fulfill the job requirements and decide not to proceed with your application. In case you, in fact, move on for the interview phase, after the interview takes place, there is a new decision to be made. You can be invited for a second interview, or an offer can be made to you. Sometimes we have positions that request more than one interview phase, and other times we have less phases and we can already make a decision and contact you to make an offer. It is important that you know that we will always give you feedback, positive or negative. And when the recruitment process is still ongoing, you are always welcome to ask for feedback on the status of your application. And you can use this email address on your screen to do so. Yeah, and now for the most important part, we would say, is some hints on how you can apply to our jobs. So you just have to access our job search site. You have the link here also displayed. And you can also search it easily on Google, for example, if you write Infineon careers. And it will take you to this page that you will see in a moment.
Can you see it?
An image? No, we are seeing the PowerPoint.
Okay, so I think I will have to
But
change.
what you will see is a similar image to the one that is at the moment in the slide, where you can conduct a search considering the criteria you find relevant. Here it is. You have different fields. We can try, for example, by country, and in this case, search for Hungary. And this will give you access to all the open jobs at the moment. So you just have to go through the list, and when you find a job opening that matches your criteria, that you consider a good fit for your profile, you just have to click on the Apply Now button and fill in some information to give us more details about you, and also upload the relevant documents, for example, your CV, the cover letter, and some references you might have. It's pretty simple, and I hope the tips that we just provided you here are useful. And also, before we move on to the questions part, also to give you some room to ask us anything you find relevant, we would like to leave you with some walkaway messages. It's important for us that you know that a negative reply does not reflect your worth. Our decision is always based on different factors depending on the specification of the job you applied for. So please always try to see it in a positive way and find an opportunity to improve yourself. Use the feedback you get to work on your future applications, and please do not give up. We believe that the right opportunity for you will come, and we are always available to answer to your questions. Thank you very much for your time and for listening to our tips and tricks. And now we would like to hear from you if there are any questions you would like to ask. If so, I believe you can write them in the chat.
Okay, I think we have a question here in the chat. So about regarding the tips that we made for the interviewing. And it says, what do you mean when you say arrive early, but not too early to the interview? How many minutes? So here, maybe I will answer, and then if you want, you can add anything, Ana Lúcia. But what we meant here was that it is important that you arrive with enough time so that you can also calm yourself and feel comfortable with where you are, but not too early, as in, imagine that you arrive like half an hour early, and then this can cause a little bit of pressure on the employer. So it's not a matter of how many minutes, just enough time so that you feel comfortable with that, and you don't feel like you have to rush inside the interview.
Completely agree.
You're welcome.
We have here, another question from Israel. asking what advice we can give to effectively apply for positions in Budapest for someone with more than 8 years of experience in financial services, experience in global teams. Well, I can let you know that our office in Budapest is more related to it's an R&D office to be precise. And in Seglet, we have our main facilities. It's more of an operation center. In what concerns this specific area that you are mentioning, the financial services, at the moment, usually this type of area, we are having open positions only in our Seglet facilities. And in Budapest, we are hiring for positions more focused in R&D in this case. But I would say that the application process is pretty similar to the one we just viewed, both for Seglet or for Budapest. You just have to do our Apply Now quick application using our career page. And then you will be contacted in case the manager decides he wants to have an interview with you. It's important that you understand that we always put the managers in contact to the candidates for their position already in the first phase, because there are always specifications and technical questions that they are the best people to support you with. And we want you to be right away in contact to the person that can clarify any matter or any concern you have. The type of experience and of selection process depends a little bit also on the teams and on the managers, also on the responsibilities of that job. As I was mentioning previously, there can be several rounds of interviews. We can have a first assessment to check just some details. You can then move on to a more technical interview and then even have another one also with HR participation. That is when we finally make a decision regarding hiring you or not. And it can be quicker and just have, for example, a phone interview with the main manager for that role, and then move on specifically in the situation we are living at the moment to a WebEx interview where you will be able to talk a little bit more, not only of your expectations, but also on some specific questions you might have regarding that job specific. Sure if we have more questions on my end, at least from your side, Kish?
No, I don't have anything on my chat either. I don't know if anyone wants to pose one or two more questions. Please feel free about it to do so. It can be about the application process or about the CVs.
I have here another question regarding the economic expectations. If it is good to give a very long range and if it is necessary to give a close number. Well, this salary expectations question is very important. I'm not, I wouldn't say that all managers try to understand this type of questions already in the first interviews. Sometimes they do, sometimes they wait and have a first motivational interview with you. And then if they decide to move on, this is the type of topic they will approach you about. But at least a range of your expectations, it's important that you already have in mind in case this is a question that is addressed to you. I'm not saying that you should already have a specific number to give, but if you have a range of a value that would be acceptable for you, this is information that is very relevant for us. And in these type of cases, the managers or the HR that is present in the interview can already let you know if your expectations match somehow what we have to offer as well.
I have one more question here. So it's about onboarding processes. So has the company a mentor program or an onboarding process? So here maybe I will start and then I will say then you can add. I believe that we always focus on providing a good onboarding to all our new employees. This is very department specific, so then the responsible hiring manager will definitely have a specific process that he will follow, but we can guarantee that we take the certain steps to make sure that the person can feel integrated and part of the team as soon as possible.
I subscribe exactly what you said. Absolutely.
And one more, so someone saying that they are not very communicative, but interviews expect them to be. How can I help myself? Well, I would say that here the preparation will be very relevant. So not everybody is the same, and we are allowed to have our differences, and we are not all very communicative, and we don't have to be. But we do have to prepare ourselves in a way that we will show who we are, our skills, our background. So I believe that if you have that prepared in advance, you can perfectly do so and perform very well in an interview.
I believe it's just to be honest about yourself.
Yeah.
If you are open about it from the beginning, I'm sure that the person that will be interviewing you will understand. And if in fact you are able to present your skills and why you would be valuable for the team, the fact that you are not so open at first will not immediately define that you should not be considered for that job.
Not be an issue. And I believe that we are having here the message that we have to close up the webinar. But know that I think I can speak for Lúcia as well. We are available if you want to reach out or connect on LinkedIn. So
yeah, that's
sure
important because we have a question regarding the LinkedIn connection. So please, you are free to talk to us on LinkedIn. If you go to the career page we just showed you, you have there the right link, the direct link to my LinkedIn page, and I can also address Cristiana afterwards. And we are completely available to answer all the questions that you might still have. So please feel free to get in contact with us.
And thank you very much for being here.
Have a rest of a nice day all.
Bye. Thank you all.
Thank you.